Well, Minister Mazrouei, welcome. We're really glad that you're here. You're a graduate, I think, of the University of Tulsa. What do you miss the most about the American Southwest?
The tornadoes, probably.
Right.
No, not really. But I think University of Tulsa was one of the, still one of the greatest universities, especially in the petroleum engineering. And I'm in contact with some of the colleagues, so I think that has been a great experience for me coming to the US and studying at the University of Tulsa.
Right. So do you remember in your classes at University of Tulsa, did anybody talk much about shale oil or shale gas?
It was not even thought about at that time. I think the whole revolution is something that demonstrates how technology can help us look at the new frontiers, and whatever we see today, not commercial. Believe me, one day it could be commercial. I think that's the story of the unconventional that we have seen.
Right. So you just finished being the president of OPEC. What do you, as you look at now the shale revolution that's happened so fast, what's been the impact or the significance for you all?
I think we changed in how we look at the shale oil. At the beginning, people were thinking it's just a phenomenon. It's not going to last for longer. And personally, I was thinking always that the shale oil is needed, and we need to work with the shale oil producers as partners, and we need to complement each other. During my presidency last year, His Excellency Mohamed, the Secretary General, and myself extended our reach to, and thanks to you, Dan, and to IHS, we started to have that dialogue, that technical dialogue. It's not commercial dialogue, of course, but it's a technical dialogue to see how can we together complement each other in fulfilling the demand of the world and ensuring that we have the right commodity at the right time for the right consumers. So it has been a great journey, and now I think we understand each other much better than at the beginning.
Right. And shale potential in your own part of the world?
Well, it's great, and I think we need to thank the shale oil producers for reducing the significantly dropping the cost, and that have helped looking at the shale at a different eye in the Middle East and in many parts of the world where it is, I think, a viable source. But first, you would like to consume and produce the easier oil, which we have plenty of. And I think the shale oil there will be a time where we tap into the shale oil, but definitely we have looked at the potential. The potential is great, both on oil and gas as well. Gas is more important for some countries than oil because they would require it for the electricity sector.
So you became minister in 2013 when prices were around $100 a barrel, and they were going to stay $100 a barrel forever, and then of course it collapsed. How did this price collapse change your priorities as minister?
Well, first of all, at the beginning, they thought it's because of me, so they were thinking, do we take him out?
Change the minister.
Change the minister. Maybe we'll go back to $100.
You have such power.
But I think it has been a great experience for me personally and for my colleagues at the in OPEC to try to deal with it. And as you remember, back in 2014, the gap was huge. It was so difficult for OPEC alone to do it. So the decision at that time was to wait a little bit. And we waited 2 years. We have seen what happened during those 2 years. The prices collapsed, but also the level of investments went to an unreasonable levels where we start to worry about the future supply. And I think at that time we came together and we extended talk with non-OPEC partners. We managed to get a consortium together. We had the declaration of cooperation back in 2017, and I think since then we managed to gradually recover the market toward the balance. We achieved that balance last year in the summer, and for many other reasons, including geopolitics, as you know, we had to change the strategy again and adopt the new agreements that we have adopted at the end of the 2018, and we're seeing as we move that strategy has been working in reducing inventories and trying to get to the 5 years average, right, where we feel it's the right environment for the balance and for the oil industry to thrive again.
Right. So you also brought a longer-term vision to your ministership, and you're the author or the leader of the 50 by 50 by 50 strategy, which is aimed at having 50% zero carbon energy by mid-century. How and why? What's the purpose, and how will you get there?
When back in 2013, when I started, I looked, do we have a strategy? And I asked my colleagues at the ministry, and apparently we didn't have a long-term strategy. And we've been asked that. Our leadership, they don't believe on a rather shorter-term strategy. So in UAE, I think we are unique in looking at very long strategies. We have even a strategy for 2071. And 2050 was the year that we elected to target for our strategy. So we start a bottom-up approach, talking to the oil company, ADNOC, talking to the energy, the other energy providers. You know, UAE is a net importer, so we import gas as well. And we looked at as well the utility companies. And after talk and looking at I think we had also a collaboration with the Department of Energy of the United States and many other countries. We elected that the best way for us is to utilize the sun, and we have plenty of it. And it used to be, some people think it's a curse because temperature goes to 50 degrees in the summer, but we thought that's an opportunity as well. And we started investing in renewable energy, especially solar. We established a company that is today one of the world developers of solar projects and wind projects worldwide. And believe it or not, we managed to reduce the cost of solar since we started by almost 80%. So today, what is the cheapest form of energy for us in the United Arab Emirates is solar. And it's available. And that was the breakthrough in our strategy as an oil producer. Then we looked at 4 pillars of how do we balance that strategy for the future. One was the security of supply. A second was the availability of that source and the reliability. Third was the environmental element of it. And fourth was achieving inhabitant happiness. It was kind of weird at that time. People were saying, why do we have to worry about happiness? And if
don't you have a minister of happiness?
We do. We do have a minister of happiness, and we have so many KPIs for achieving happiness for the people. And it's not.
I think we should just do a session on that. So.
It's not. I mean, at the beginning, people were laughing about it, but it's really a very hard job, because at the end of the day, we are in the business of providing energy, but for what? For people living in cities. But we need to ask ourselves a question: are they going to be happy living in those cities? Now we look at certain cities, and we're not happy, just as visitors visiting those cities. So one of the challenges of the future is going to be the quality of water, the quality of air. And we elected to adopt a strategy which is the 50% zero emission which will allow us by 2050 to reduce CO2 emission by 70%. And we believe that will make the people or the inhabitant of the cities in the United Arab Emirates happier. So it is one of the KPIs that we are working on.
And nuclear is part of.
Yes.
I mean, you're building four.
Yes, we are building four units together with the Korean. It's a Westinghouse technology, and the reason for it, it's clean, so it doesn't emit CO2, but at the same time, it provides you with certainty when you're talking about the price of energy for a very long term. But it's not going to be a large, components of our strategy. We envisage that it's going to be around 6% by 2050, and it's a base load that we need. We believe that the solar and the other renewable energy will be one day a reliable base load as well with the evolution. We're not only investing on the PV, we are also investing in the CSP, and we managed to get around 16 hours at a cost of 7.3 cents per kilowatt hour. I mean, cost is very important because at the end of the day, you need to have an attractive economy, and if your cost is very expensive, the economy will not be attractive. So today, gas, if you have a high efficient turbine, gas would give you around 5 cents. The gas at $8 would give you around 5 cents, and if you have solar, between 2 cents if it's a PV and 7.3 cents if it's a CSP, a combination of the two would give you a good portfolio.
Right. In terms of environmental issues, two of the big issues that are here at this year at the conference, one of course is methane, the other is at the other end plastics. And just your thinking and what the UAE is addressing on each of those.
Well, we are pleasant of a leadership that always thinks about the environment. So back in 1995, our national oil company started a campaign on reducing emissions, reducing flaring, and we call it the zero flaring policy. Back in 1995, no one was thinking about the environmental impact of burning gas at that time. But our founding father, late Sheikh Zayed, was not happy with us burning gas and polluting the environment. So ADNOC started investing, even though we have many of the IOC's shareholders with us in Abu Dhabi, and they were complaining at that time. Why are you spending money on trying not to flare? Flare is part of the business. But we started since then, and today I can tell you, Don, that ADNOC, our national oil company, is considered a world leader in reducing the methane emission. The intensity is as low as 0.01%. And I think if you ask any expert, that's one of the lowest in the world. Yeah. So I think now we are reaping the benefits of that strategy that we started long time ago. And we are very concerned about achieving and maintaining that level. As I told you earlier, the strategy is targeting to reduce the CO2 emission by 70% by 2050. Right. So we are measured, and part of the KPIs for me to stay as a minister or to leave is maintaining those KPIs. So it's a serious business. We are concerned. When it comes to plastic, as you know, we are also a major investor in the petrochemical business, and we are together with our companies developing and investing in the recycling business. We're trying to make all of our products recyclable, and we finance sometimes campaigns to work with the consumers. When it comes to the problem of plastic, we believe that the biggest part is the human element. We elect to throw plastic where we can throw it into the recycle bin. Our role as industries is to make sure that whatever we produce is recyclable. Right. And I think the second element is the human, and we need to be wise as human with our choices and not to throw the plastic and try to be sensible.
Right. I mean, it is, I mean, our work on the chemical area is that basically 10 rivers in the world are responsible for about 65% of the ocean waste of plastics. And so, as you say, the human element is very important in that part.
Yes.
Yeah. Since you become minister, you've lived through a lot of price volatility. Prices got as high as $86 last year. I think it was in 2007 when the UAE established its 2030 goal for diversification. And yesterday, the Secretary General of OPEC was talking about the challenge of diversification for, as he called it, monocultural economies. How is diversification working in your economy?
I think it's working very well. UAE has managed to increase the non-oil revenues or economic activities to the level where oil is almost 1/4 or between 1/3 to 1/4, depending on where is the oil price of our whole economy
Today.
yes. And we are investing a lot in efforts and promotions to ensure that that journey take us to the future. We are also trying to reduce the subsidy as much as possible. As you know, back in one of the things that I pushed when I was back in 2015 is to liberate the market, diesel and gasoline. So the fuel market is today market-driven. It's not subsidized.
Was that difficult to do?
Was very difficult to do at the beginning, but I think I was lucky, and we were lucky that the prices were going down when we elect to do it. So people saw the benefits. It's rarely as consumers to see something goes down, and people were not believing that when you regulate a commodity, that they will see it cheaper than where it is. So we started, I remember, with a price, and it was around 24% higher than the price before the liberation. But next month they saw it going down. The month after they saw it going down with oil prices, and we start explaining to the people, and they believed in the process. And today no one is asking. They just go to the pump, fill up, and but also we are still one of the lowest countries in the world when it comes to gasoline and diesel because we don't apply lots of taxes on those. We only have a VAT tax of 5%. So if you look at the price in UAE, the distribution companies, they make money, but at the same time the consumers are not complaining. It's not as expensive as it is in Europe or in some countries.
So as another part of diversification was what we were talking about with Mike Wirth about women in the workforce. That's been one of your priorities, and how is that going?
Well, for us in UAE, we have a very small population, and to us, women are half of the society, and they need to be getting all of the opportunities that men has. So it never been a challenge for us. First of all, we need them. Second, they are very capable. And I would mention that in the oil industry, typically that's a men field, but not in UAE. We started, I think, His Excellency Dr. Sultan Al-Jaber, Minister of State and CEO of ADNOC, have pushed a strategy of having CEO women. We have 2 of them joining us here in CERAWEEK, and we are very happy with their performance since they've been given the challenge. And it's not about giving them a special status, it's just giving them the chance. And I think they perform sometimes better than us. So it's not, we need, gender equality is something that we really believe in. Our cabinet is 1/3 women. The National Assembly is led by a woman in UAE. So I think the leadership is determined to give them the opportunity, and they are performing very well. and but they have the same KPIs as us men, so they have to perform.
Right.
It's not because they are women they have been given a slack. I think they're delivering and they are taking it seriously.
And the talent in general, the talent for the future, recruiting, is that an issue to bring people in the industry in the UAE?
We are trying to tackle that. As you know, our industry, if you're talking about the oil and gas industry or the energy industry in general, it's not very popular. So we have lots of issues. You mentioned plastic, you mentioned other things that makes the young people sometimes hesitant to join this industry. But we are working now on the promotion of a very specialized program for the talent, and we are talking to them as early as the KG and elementary, primary and elementary school. We're trying to engage with them and trying to attract them to this industry early enough. In the ministry, we also have a program with the Ministry of Education, educating people about the challenges, about the energy, and trying to attract them to become part of the solution of all of those challenges in the future.
Right. Well, Mr. Minister, thank you very much for coming again to CERAWEEK. We're really pleased to have you here and know that you'll be with us for some time. So it's a pleasure to talk to you again.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. That was great.